Hey, welcome back to the channel. So I grew up thinking that in order to be more successful, I just had to work harder, put in more hours, put in more effort. But as I grew older and I started to really understand the science of getting rich, I quickly realized that that was not the solution. There was actually something even bigger, even more powerful, this force that was determining how financially successful you and I will both become. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the amount of hours we work or how hard that we work. And in this video, I'm going to be revealing exactly what that is and what it means for you in your life and how you can go about ensuring that it's on your side to set yourself up for the most financial success possible. So what am I talking about? Well, it's your self-image ceiling. So it's really about how do you view yourself? How do you identify yourself? If you were to write the I am statement, what do you put after those two key words? How do you see yourself in the world? What do you think you're capable of? And this all ties into your self-identity, your self-image. Now, why does this matter and why is it so important when it comes to your financial success? Well, we have something called our internal thermostat. Just like you'd have a thermostat on the wall that you set the temperature on, and if it gets too hot, it automatically brings down the temperature. If it gets too cold, it lifts it up. And we actually operate very similarly. So we have like a self-identity thermostat. So if your financial thermostat, your self-identity thermostat is set on achieving 10K a month. If all of a sudden you start making 50K a month, your thermostat is like, oh wait, that is way out of character for us. That is too far extended. We better bring down the temperature. And what you'll notice is that all of a sudden you're going to start self-sabotaging. Habits that were very normal for you now no longer exist. Maybe you're not turning up in the same way. Maybe you just don't feel compelled or motivated to do the same things that you used to do to get to that 50K. So your thermostat is literally hardwired to say 10K is our set point. Now, if you go beyond that and you haven't done any other work, it is going to cause your nervous system to go into chaos, to literally freak out, being like, I cannot hold this amount of money. This feels so unnatural. None of this is conscious. No person in the world will go, 50K, no, I'm good. I want to go back to my 10K. Thank you. Of course not. But internally, subconsciously, our nervous system wiring, all of it is saying, oh my God, what is happening? This is way too hot for us. Let's bring it back down. And then you might notice the next month you're back to 10K. But if the month after that you're down to 2K, again, your thermostat is like, what's going on? I'm not a 2K person. And so we'll start shifting things. We'll start heating things up. Maybe you're more motivated. Maybe you're doing things more. Maybe you're making different decisions and you're turning up in your business more. You're turning up in whatever your income generating your business or your opportunities are. You have an internal thermostat. And when I began to realize this, it completely blew my mind because it made so much sense why when I first started my business and I was making 10K and then I was making 25K. And then in one weekend, I sold 2 packages for £50,000. And that was more than I had ever made in a weekend. When I rang my parents, they were like, geez, Laura, I've never made that in a weekend. Now I was out earning my own parents. And internally, that felt so uncomfortable. I was thrilled, of course, but internally, there was something not aligning with it yet. I hadn't done the identity shifting work. I hadn't done the subconscious mind work, the nervous system rewiring, in order to expand my own financial container internally, to be able to hold that level of money. But what happened the next month? Well, I completely sabotaged it. And so I wasn't making 50K weekends. And it wasn't until I really began to understand this work and understand why was I self-sabotaging? Because consciously it doesn't make sense. Logically it doesn't make sense, but I was still doing it. And why am I doing something against my own interest, right? So think about this in your own life. When you achieve something that is outside of your comfort zone, and if you've ever then self-sabotaged, ask yourself, why would you do something to hurt yourself and it is against your best interest? And it's because ultimately, one of the strongest forces in the universe is for us to stay in alignment with how we view ourselves. Right? Our self-identity is insanely powerful. And so if you have not updated your self-identity to be someone who can charge X amount, whatever the amount is for you, £5,000, £10,000, 50, £100,000 to work with you or for your service or whatever it is, then your ability to sell something at that point will be so limited. And your ability to hold it, if by fluke you manage to, will be so limited. And so we have to begin to see ourselves differently. So you might then be asking, well, where does this self-image come from? So this was all programmed into our mind since we were little kids. At about age 7 or 8, our subconscious mind is literally wide open. It's like a massive sponge absorbing in everything. So if you ever heard a conversation of your parents, your guardians, who were like, it's so hard with money right now, or they're struggling with money or stressing with it, or like, we're just not a rich family, or they're having conversations of lack and scarcity. All of that went straight in as if it was absolute truth. Not just their truth, but the truth. Right? So all of that has been programmed in your mind. And maybe as you grew up, you had experiences that were bad with money. Or maybe you had moments that you didn't manage your money great. And instead of just thinking, I didn't have the skill set, or I wasn't taught the skill set to be able to manage money, you took it on as an identity that I'm bad with money. Or you took it on as an identity of money is really hard to make, money is really hard to keep. All of these I am statements, all of these identities, these labels that we started to place on ourselves and then carry around as adults really shift and shape our own reality and our own potential to earn more money. It's why when everything that we do in financial education, it's like, yes, I love to show women how to manage their money, how to invest their money, make it work for them, because like what an awesome thing to be able to do. Not just work for your money, but have money working for you and build real financial freedom. But if we are not tackling the money side, the identity side, the unconscious programming, then all of this over here just doesn't have the same impact. It might work temporarily, but the chances of it really being long lasting is so limited unless we really tackle what's going on inside. So you might be wondering, okay, well, if my self-image is so important, and if that self-image ceiling is literally keeping me at a cap of my own financial success, how the heck do I go about changing it? Right? It's like first question I would be asking too. So I'm going to share with you a couple of really key practices that have worked incredibly well for me, incredibly well for the women that I work with as well. The first thing to know is that your self-image can be changed. And it's really important that we change. Otherwise, you could have all the money in the world and still see yourself as incredibly broke, which is not a way to live. Or you'll find a way just to be very self-sabotaging, and as quickly as it's come in, as quickly as it will go out. Now, one of the ways that I love to begin to shift my self-image, and trust me, your self-image will constantly need upgrading, right? This is not a one and done system. And I should mention that every new plateau that you get to, it's like going through a different level on a video game. That's right. Every new level, there's new goals, new aspirations, new desires, and there's a new self-identity that comes with it. The version that you are right now is awesome, and you've achieved goals, you've manifested things that maybe you never thought were possible. But there is another version of you available where they have even bigger goals and bigger aspirations, and maybe they need to stretch themselves to achieve new things that they've never done before. That requires a new version of you to do that. Not a better version, not a more worthy version, just a different version of you. And so a new self-identity needs to be attached with those new goals and desires in order for you to achieve them. This identity work is continuous. So this is why it's so awesome and so amazing to understand it. I take women and I work with in my mastermind through this in a very in-depth process. But as I mentioned, I want to share 3 things that I absolutely love. First is visualization. Take time to literally close your eyes, get into a very relaxed state. This is when we are most susceptible to shifting what is going on in our subconscious mind. In this relaxed state, I want you to literally see on the ground a pair of old shoes and a pair of new shoes, and literally visualize yourself slipping into these new shoes and then walking around this new reality that you want to create. The reality that has you already achieved all of the goals that you want. Maybe there's 3 big key goals that you're working with right now. Walk around this rich life that you have created for yourself, that you've manifested, and really use all of your senses, engage as much of your senses as you can to live into this new reality. Another way to really begin to shift your self-image is upgrade your environment. And that could just be something simple as, moving some things around your home, decluttering, upgrading a couple of key pieces of furniture, or just reorganizing how your home is. Because maybe right now it's a bit of a mess. You're not really taking care of it. You're not really taking care of the things that you have. But if you just took a little bit of time to create an environment around you, and even if it's just little notes here and there, it doesn't have to be splurging money to have a whole renovation, but just little things in your home that make you feel maybe a little bit more abundant, or maybe feel a little bit more prosperous, or a little bit more rich. Or maybe you invest in a new pair of shoes that just every time you slip on, you just feel so fabulous, and they remind you of the rich life you're stepping into. These little things, these little adjustments we can make in our environment can really help us tap into this new reality and connect us more to that future version of ourselves that we're creating. Now, the final one that I want to share with you is about I am statements. As I mentioned earlier, what follows the I am are some of the most powerful words that we speak, because I am is truly connecting to who am I at my core, my identity, my self-image, how I see myself. Be incredibly aware of what you say after those 2 very powerful words, I am. And start writing out affirmations and sticking them in places that you'll see them consistently. Like I have them on my bathroom mirror. I see them every morning when I spend time in there brushing my teeth, putting on makeup, all these things. And I have time in there just to read them. And it goes in your brain. It's not a one and done situation. It's not like you say your affirmation once and it will rewrite years of old programming. But consistently saying them every time you go and you see the affirmation, say it, feel it, take a moment to actually embody. What will it feel like to live in that experience? Now, if you want to delve even deeper into this, make sure you check out this next video. It's so incredible. I know you're going to love it. Thanks for watching and enjoy.